The shooting guard position is sometimes the most forgotten position in basketball, but has made way for some of the most talented players in basketball history, and there's no lack of shooting guard talent in the league today. So I'm going to rank my top 10 shooting guards. In at 10, I have Donte DiVincenzo. He contributed tons to the New York Knicks playoff run, and he was a central cog in that team. And he's going to continue to contribute, especially with this new and improved Knicks team with Mikal Bridges. He's a great scorer. He's got a long range with his shot, and he can defend really well, especially against those really strong guards that they will come up against in the playoffs, like Tyrese Halliburton. In at 9, I have Desmond Bane. He was great this season. He showed flashes of a really great scorer. He can shoot on all three levels, from the paint, mid-range, and three-point line. But if he played a bit more, I think he would have been higher on this list. And he was in a difficult position with the Memphis Grizzlies and how they were struggling without Ja Morant. Once Ja Morant comes back, I think his scoring will go down, but he will still be a big piece in this team, and they are hoping to get back to the playoff form they had before the Instagram video. In at 8, I have Jalen Green. Although he wasn't great to start the season and Houston were struggling, once it came to the end of the season, he was dominating. Averaging nearly 30 points per game in the last 20 games, he showed flashes of the player we all wanted him to be after the draft. He has so much potential, and if he can consistently do that, he can be one of the best scorers in the league today. In at 7, I have Josh Hart. He was great for the New York Knicks throughout the season. He was instrumental in their playoff runs, having tons of really important games and helped them to the conference finals, arguably their second most useful player throughout that playoff run. And I don't really know what position he plays. He's kind of a positionless player, so I put him here at shooting guard because that's what he played earlier in his career. In at 6, I have Jalen Williams. He was a huge part of the OKC Thunder. He was a fundamental player for this team. Great defender, good distributor, and a great secondary scorer when SGA wasn't dominating. He's an amazing part. He's an all-around player that works on every team. And he's kind of positionless like Josh Hart. So I decided to put him here at shooting guard, although I think he can play small forward and a bit of power forward. In at 5, I have Paul George. He had a great season with the Clippers, and although they didn't go far in the playoffs because of injuries, he played in this season well. He had James Harden by his side, and the Clippers ended up playing pretty well in the regular season, and that's big thanks to Paul George. He's a great two-way player on the wing and has been one of the best players in our league for years. In at 4, I have Kyrie Irving. He was great for the Mavs throughout the season, a great scorer when Luka Doncic wasn't rolling, and was the second best player on the running-up championship team. Dallas looked great, and next year I think they have big potential to go deep in the West again. They've got Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, Derek Lively. This team is great, and a big part of that is Kyrie Irving. In at 3, I have Devin Booker. He's an amazing player. Although the Suns haven't looked great this season, he's still played pretty well. He had a near 60-point game, and he dominated throughout the season. He's a great scorer, a pretty good defender for a guard, and he's on one of the better teams out west, and they're hoping to play way better than they did this season as they fell to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round in 4 games. In at 2, I have Jaylen Brown. He was great for the Celtics this season and was probably the best player on their playoff run. He won the NBA Finals MVP, the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and he was great. He's a two-way player, and he led the Celtics to the championship when Jason Tatum wasn't playing to the best of his abilities. He can score as a number 1 player, as we saw throughout the playoffs, and he definitely has a lot of potential and possibly 2 or 3 more rings on the table if this Boston team stays together, which it looks like it will, with all the main players signing huge contracts this offseason. And in at number 1, I have Anthony Edwards. He was great throughout the playoffs for Minnesota, and he was one of the best players in the playoffs throughout the first 3 rounds, although they fell to Dallas in the conference finals, and I still think the Minnesota Timberwolves have a shot at winning the championship in the coming years. Anthony Edwards is a great scorer. He's got a shot on him and one of the most impressive inside games from a guard we have seen in years. He's still a really good defender at the shooting guard spot and can defend well against some of the best players in our league. And that's all I have for you today. So thank you for watching the video. Tell me your top 10 shooting guards in the comments down below and have a nice day.